Ever since the start of his career, Drake has been pumping out timeless hits and classics with one of his go-to producers, Boi-1da. With songs like Pound Cake, Do Not Disturb, God's Plan, Know Yourself, Best I Ever Had, and a list that feels like it just never ends, it's safe to say that Drake is addicted to using Boi-1da's beats. And in today's video, we're gonna figure out why that is.
Old number so it bounce back. Boi-1da got to bounce back.
One of my all-time favorite Drake songs is Do Not Disturb, which was produced by Boi-1da, Noah 40, and Alan Ritter. The angelic vocal sample and those bouncy Boi-1da drums make this beat a classic. So to start out, let's make our own emotional sample inspired by Do Not Disturb. The original sample on this song is Time by Snow Allegra, and if you listen to it, you can tell that the main elements of this sample are a vocal and an electric piano.
Silence keeps clouding me, handle my heart.
So let's first start out with some emotional electric piano chords. And a little tip, if you want your melodies to sound more sampled, make sure that you make stuff at a slower BPM like 120 so that you can pitch and speed it up later to a BPM like 170. You'll get a much more authentic sampled kind of vibe. Now that we've got a nice foundation with the chords for this sample, we really need some emotional vocals to really set this one off. So I started humming out some melodies and writing some lyrics, and this is what I ended up with. I wish that time didn't pass by, but it keeps going. So I'll live my life till the day that I die. Ooh, 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 ooh. Now, clearly, this is not sounding like Do Not Disturb yet, so to really level this one up, I send it over to my vocalist to get those super smooth and emotional female vocals.
I wish the time didn't pass by, but it keeps going. So I live my life to the day that I die. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
If you want to know how you can get these vocals and more like it 100% for free, stay tuned till a little later in this video. Anyways, from here, I wanted to add some piano to thicken up the sample and give it some more body. So I copied the electric piano chords and put it on this piano from Keyscape. And a cool trick that I used to make this sound more realistic is I actually played the piano through my speakers and recorded it with my mic. And then I layered that back in on top of the VST. And what this does is it captures the natural noise of your room and it makes it sound more like it's actually being played live in a room instead of just a VST. At this point, our sample is pretty much finished. But like I mentioned earlier, if you listen to Do Not Disturb, you can clearly tell that the sample's pitch and speed has been warped. So after messing with the pitch and speed of our sample, we end up with this.
I wish the time didn't pass by, but it keeps going. So I live my life to the day that I die. Ooh, 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 ooh. I wish the time didn't pass by, but moments never last. So I'm holding this one day. Oh, I'm holding this one day.
Now, to get this as close to Do Not Disturb as possible, I'm going to take this finished sample and bring it into a new project to flip it even more. If you listen closely, the original electric piano chords in Time by Snow Allegra didn't actually make it into the final cut of the Drake record. It sounds like they took the acapella and then built some smooth synth chords around the acapella. So to do something similar, I grabbed this crazy sign pad from the Elements of R&B Analog Lab Bank. But this clearly doesn't sound like the pad on Do Not Disturb yet. And to get there, we're going to need to do some processing. The first thing I did was filter the pad with Decimort, and then I grabbed Sound Shifter to pitch it down an octave to give more space for the high frequencies of the vocal. And I added a tremolo to make it move from left to right. After adding that pad to our sample, we're ready to add some signature Boi-1da and Drake style drums. If you listen to the drums on Do Not Disturb, you can tell that there's not too many sounds in the beat, but the drums have just the right amount of energy to bounce and hit hard, while also still leaving room for Drake's vocal. Leaving space by not overdoing things and keeping it simple is a huge reason why Drake keeps coming back to Boi-1da's beats. By keeping stuff simple, Boi-1da gives Drake a lot more room to be the star of the show on his own songs instead of the beat just carrying him and stealing the spotlight. That being said, let's start laying down some Do Not Disturb style drums on this track. The first thing I noticed was that signature Drake snare pattern. Then we've also got this super simple two-step hi-hat pattern with just one simple roll, just like the one on Do Not Disturb. Now, I felt like this was just a bit boring, so to spice the hi-hats up on this one, I layered in another hi-hat sound that's panning left and right and created a few sections where it's playing with the first hi-hat just to give it a different texture and bounce without doing too much. Now we need a hard-hitting kick, but if you listen to the kicks on Do Not Disturb, you can hear that Boi-1da messes with the velocity of the kicks, and this helps give the beat more bounce and more of a human feeling like it was actually played in on an MPC, and it definitely helps add to the vibe of these drums. So I've done that with our kick here, and this is what it sounds like. Now, to tie all the drums together, we need a thick bass just like the one on Do Not Disturb. When you listen to the bass on Do Not Disturb, you can tell that it kind of stops abruptly, and this helps give it a stop and go feeling, which really adds to that bounce. Now, for the last sound, we can hear a super subtle rim shot that plays during the bridge on Do Not Disturb. So I copied over the same snare pattern onto a rim. This is what that sounds like. And now our beat is pretty much done, but for one finishing touch, one thing Boi-1da loves to do is bring in his 808s and kicks a little bit off time. A great example of this is on Mob Ties.
Sick of these niggas. Sick of these niggas. Hire some help. Get rid of these niggas.
So for the second verse of our beat, I decided I wanted the kicks and the bass to come in a little bit off time, which sounds like this. Now for the final test, let's see if a Drake acapella sounds good on this beat.
I wish the time didn't pass by, but moments never last, so I'm holding this one tight. Oh, I'm holding this one tight. Oh.
Yeah. Styling, no. Listen, but got pictures with me smiling, no. All the things you need, you still want problems, though. All the things I know, I still been silent, though. I gotta start sleeping at the studio. I don't have no time to be no Romeo. All the love I need is at the rodeo. All the love I need is here at OVO.
If you like the sounds in the first beat and you want those and a lot more like it 100% for free, check out the link in the description down below for the free preview version of my upcoming kit, Elements of R&B. If you like R&B stuff, this kit is insane. It's got loops, drums, midis, presets, live instrument phrases, and a huge library with over 1,000 soulful R&B vocals, just like the one on the first beat. So if you want to grab the free version, you can get that in the first link in the description down below. Now, although Do Not Disturb is one of my favorite Drake tracks of all time, another classic beat that Boi-1da made for Drake was Pound Cake featuring Jay-Z. This beat is super legendary and iconic, but it's actually really simple. So let's get into how you can make your own Pound Cake style track. The most recognizable and main part of this beat is the vocal sample from Ellie Goulding. Those are sounding insane. So to do something similar, I grabbed some vocal runs from the Elements of R&B kit, and I came up with this super soulful and vibey pattern with the chops. Now, this clearly is not sounding like Pound Cake at all yet, and the reason why is because it's super dry. The vocal on Pound Cake is drowned in reverb and delay, and it really just fills out the beat and gives it this crazy, ethereal kind of atmosphere. So I grabbed some Valhalla reverb and some tape delay, and I added them to our vocals, and this is what that sounds like. Now we've definitely got a great foundation to build on top of, but if you listen to the melody on Pound Cake, you can tell that they layered in some electric piano chords underneath that vocal. So I grabbed this electric piano from the Elements of R&B kit and laid down these simple but vibey chords. I did the same thing they did with the rhythm of the chords on Pound Cake, which is having the second chord come in a little bit early. If you look in right here, if you were going super basic, it should come in right when this bar starts, but it actually comes in a beat earlier before that bar starts, and that gives it a way better bounce. So let's show you what it would sound like if that was right where it should be. Super vanilla and boring, but if you drag that back, it kind of plays a little earlier than you would expect, and it just gives it a nice bounce. Once I had that, I pitched down the chords a whole octave just to leave more room for the vocals to really shine on this beat, just like they do on Pound Cake. And this is what the finished melody sounds like. Now we need some hard-hitting drums just like the one that Boi-1da did on Pound Cake, which, as you can already probably tell, are super simple. It's literally just a kick and a snare. It's insane how simple a beat can be and still be so iconic and legendary. I mentioned it before, but that is one of the key reasons that Drake keeps coming back to Boi-1da's beats.
One thing I actually learned from him, I used to put like a bunch of sounds in my beats, and he's like, I like this beat. He's like, well, take this off, take this off, take this off, take this off. And he actually taught me like less is more.
The Pound Cake beat is a perfect example of it doesn't matter how many sounds you use, it matters which sounds you use and how you use them. The bounce between the kick and the snare on Pound Cake is what makes the beat so great. So I replicated that here, and let me kind of explain it to you. So the first thing that's super easy to notice on Pound Cake is that the kick plays with the rhythm of the chords. As you can see, this kick right here is playing with this chord hit, and this kick right here is playing right with this one. This kick is playing with that one. So it's super cohesive, and it kind of locks in the bounce and the groove for the beat. However, one cool thing that Boi-1da did on Pound Cake is he also placed a kick right here where the snare is supposed to be and took the snare out right there. As you can see, there's no snare in this first part where it should be hitting. And this kind of builds the anticipation for the snare to actually hit. And as soon as the first snare hits, another kick comes in right with the chord change. And this is what Boi-1da did to give this beat its unique bounce. Now we could end this beat here, but to make it a little bit more interesting, I wanted to add a few more sounds just to fill it out a little bit. Of course, without doing too much and ruining that Boi-1da simplicity. So taking inspiration from Boi-1da's drums on Mob Ties again, I delayed when the 808 comes in so it has an unexpected drop with the bass. And then to finish this one off, I added some super simple cymbals hitting with the kicks to add some more impact and this little hi-hat roll at the end. And all together with the sample and some Drake and Jay-Z acapellas, this is what the finished product sounds like.
Tables turn, bridges burn, you live and learn. With the ink, I can murder, word to my nigga Irv. Yeah, I swear shit just started clicking, dog. You know it's real when you are who you think you are.
I had Benzes for you had braces. The whole black Maybach, but I'm not a racist. Inside's white indicating Perry's faces. Yellow diamonds in my Jesus. I just might learn to speak Mandarin. Japanese for the yen that I'm handling. International hold, that's my handle. My Saints chunk on, light a candle.
If you want any of the sounds that I used in this video, like some crazy vocals, along with crazy loops, presets, and more, make sure that you check out the free Elements of R&B kit down in the description. You'll only be able to get the free version until September 15th, so don't sleep.